Hello everyone, CSRT here with the bulk Shulker storage system. I'll go ahead and demonstrate. So let's say I need a stack of quartz. Yeah, that's not going to be enough buttons. I need a whole box, and oh, that's not enough trapdoors, but oh, I don't have anything in the barrel, so I'll grab that box. Okay, and that's just a demonstration of what you can do with this rather compact storage system. I believe it's 9 tall by 10 wide, and yeah, my whole goal is to allow the player to access the shulker box that is being filled up, and then once it gets filled up, it gets destroyed and stored in a collection beneath. And yeah, I'll go ahead and explain it. So there are two ways you can actually go about this. You can have the dispenser on the side and items fed in from the top, or the dispenser on top and items fed in from the side. What you're not allowed to do is have a block underneath, otherwise the shulker box always defaults to the upward position, and yeah, obviously then you couldn't open it. You can't have a block right here because for my particular breaking method, I have a piston here that gets pushed down and then it extends and retracts because of this observer here. However, this has run into a few issues. Let's see if we can actually see this. Okay, we saw that the shulker box kind of just spewed in a random direction. Sometimes it ends up on the neighboring shulker box over there. And yeah, obviously if you lose that box, that's a full shulker box worth of items that are just gone. And that's going to be quite a bit of loss. So my solution was to put the observer on top so we don't have to deal with the small hitbox of the hopper. However, this one actually also has a problem, and to demonstrate, the first thing is if you don't have any items in the hopper right here, when the piston destroys it, it always ends up in the hopper instead of actually falling down. But if you have your detection on the back here, then this should be filled up with items. In this case, I'm going to use shulker boxes so it doesn't go into that box there. And when we destroy it now, we see, okay, it somewhat works. Okay, and then that time it kind of spewed out. And so I think what's happening is the hitbox for the piston head is just messing up the entity's location. And so what you can do is actually destroy it using a trapdoor, because that hitbox is all the way off to the side, and that's not going to interfere with which way the entity is actually going to break. All right, let's go ahead and see this in action on this side. So we saw that it kind of just went backwards a little bit, and on this time it kind of just fell straight down. So if you don't have blocks on the side, it obviously can move to the side, but that shouldn't be an issue. And so yeah, that's basically all there is. I'll go ahead and explain this more in detail right here. So right here we have the feed for the shulker boxes going forward, and of course it goes into the dispenser here, and then it'll dispense the shulker box. And we have right here the simple item sorter. This is the same one that I made a few weeks ago. Yeah, so what's going to happen is once the shulker box gets completely filled, this hopper here will get filled, and then this hopper will get enough items for this comparator to output a signal strength of 2, and then activate this trapdoor so that we send a signal all the way to the front here. And yeah, the reason why I'm using trapdoors, by the way, is so that I can just do one line individually, and you just need to do an activation block. A note block won't work because if you power a note block, it would power the ones on the sides as well. So that's why I'm using trapdoors here. So in the front, what's going to happen is this trapdoor, this observer, and this trapdoor are going to activate. So these three parts down here move down, and then what's going to happen is because this observer was moved, the piston will extend, and then the delay right here will send another pulse, so the observer gets retracted and pushed back down, so that the piston here can then grab the trapdoor that we placed right there. And while that's going on, after some delay, this note block activates for this observer to detect, and then this observer detects that observer to power this block to activate the dispenser to place the shulker box just as soon as that gets retracted. All right. So obviously then you just have your storage right beneath. Before I did have a block right here, however sometimes the shulker boxes were landing on that block, so I just removed it and placed another hopper there. Okay, so over here I have a rail, the powered rail, and what's going to happen is when that gets powered, it would send a signal to this to activate it, and it'll destroy the box. Obviously that's completely optional, you don't have to do it that way, because you can actually just break this by hand, and what's going to happen is this is still going to get backed up and it's going to do the whole motion. However, it's just going to break a block that's not actually there, and then everything will be fine. Of course, if you want even more storage for the filled boxes, you can add another chest or barrel underneath and then put another hopper going into it. Perfectly fine. If you have a concern about having 5 stacks of items in this one hopper, then you can actually do the vertical design where you only have the one hopper that feeds directly into it, and once that gets enough for the signal strength of 2, then it'll do the whole breaking method and reset itself. But obviously I found it to be a lot more consistent to need like a whole stack of something. So that's why I prefer this method where you have the 5 stack backup, because only having like 20 items in the shulker box means if you need like 30 or something, you're going to have to open the barrel, place down the shulker box, open it, get the items, and then put it back. And then that's not even going to be a full shulker box anymore. Anyway, I should mention that it is possible to break this machine with the current setup, because if you have the hopper here backed up, and it gets more backed up because there aren't any more shulker boxes right there, then it will start to extend the pulse and will activate the other part, the neighboring systems. And if they don't have any shulker boxes, obviously the cycle will continue. But if they do have shulker boxes in their dispenser at least, then you'll just end up with not fully filled shulker boxes in the storage below. So yeah, that's a problem if you completely run out of shulker boxes. But if you are running low on shulker boxes, then obviously this is not a system you should be setting up, because this obviously requires just a ton of shulker boxes to work in the first place. But yeah, that's all I have for today. I'm not going to do a tutorial for this because it's one wide and I kind of went over it. But yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.